Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons, back with some more solos for you. You can check out more solos like the one in Post Malone's Take What You Want or Machine Gun Kelly's 27 with a little eye up there. So as you've likely deduced, this is The Pursuit of Happiness by Kid Cudi, featuring MGMT, the guitar solo for that. So I couldn't find any totally accurate tabs or tutorials which sounded quite right to me. In saying that, I've just done this by ear by listening to the original. I don't have access to the master track, so any corrections or suggestions are as always more than welcome. I did, however, look at the Genius video of the producer, which his name escapes me just now, working on the track, so I did manage to use that a little bit as well. You can jump to any section using the timestamps or the new fancy chapters feature that YouTube started including in the video timeline. Right, so here I'm going to break it down bar by bar, highlighting stuff you might want to watch out for, as well as any kind of relevant tips or tricks. This is the part for those of us who really want to take it to the next level. Okay, so in terms of the tone or the sound, a humbucking guitar is going to be good, but a single coil works as well. The two main options you have are using the neck, which I've opted for, or you could use your bridge pickup and roll your tone pot down. The reason for this is there's a very creamy, smooth tone used in this recording. It sounds like he's probably using a fuzz pedal, and just for reference what I've done is I've put a tiny bit of bit crusher in front of a fuzz, and that's how I've got this kind of fuzzy, borderline glitchy tone I was trying to imitate as best I could. The other thing you might want to do is kind of make an EQ boost somewhere between, I'd say, 700 and maybe 1200 Hz, because you want that kind of slight honk as well. There's a kind of mid-range sort of honk going on, like a bit like if you cock a wah pedal. So that's a rough idea about how to do that. Let's just jump into the solo. Okay, so we kick things off by pre-bending the 12th fret as semitone. So we want it to sound this pitch. We're going to bend it up first, hit it, and then return it to pitch. Right, there's also bits in the solo where these kind of notes swell in volume. The volume gets louder as they come in. So you can either try and use your volume pot, I have more than that with the eye up there, a volume pedal if you want to get it really authentic, or do what I did and just ignore it. These are the kind of finer details if you really want to nail the sound. So we've got this pre-bend return to pitch. Sorry, overbent it a little bit there. 14th fret on the G after that. Then we essentially have the same melody, except this time we're plucking the 13th and the 12th on the B. Back down to that 14th on the G. So you have... And then when we play this 14th on the G, you don't really hear it. We use what's called a grace note. So it's just there to give us, grace us with its presence, really. We slide that really quickly down to the 9th fret on the G. So you might need to take a wee bit of time practicing getting that slide nice and accurate. It's not the easiest thing to do if you're new to this. So you have the pre-bend, release it, 14th fret on the G, 13, 12, then this grace note slide down to the 9th. Right, we play this again, slide up to the 12, and play that again. So your first phrase, the second phrase here is almost identical, but this last little bit is slightly different. Now, when I listened to that video that I mentioned earlier where the producer was going through it, he does actually just sustain this note, right, when we get to the 9th. So I'll explain that from the start of this second phrase. So, on the record, that's actually what happens. You just hold this note. But there's a lot going in the backing, so I thought it made more sense to kind of play along with that. If you want to keep it authentic, just do that. If you want to do what I did, then you play this and slide up to the 12th, but with a slight variation. So we have... So this time we're going to play the 9th twice, then slide up to that 12th fret. And to recap phrase 2, you probably want to slide down and out of that 12th fret as well. We then have phrase 3. So we're essentially just kind of going up the scale in thirds here. I just alternate pick everything using down, up, down, up. Here you've got a slide up to that 14th fret. You can pull this one off if you want as well. I think that's a bit more authentic. So we're sliding up there from the 10th to the 14th, pulling up to the 12th, still on the G string, down to the D for the 15th and the 14th. And a recap, phrase 3. So the next phrase you could see is part of phrase 3, but to me I feel it's slightly different. We hold this sustained note from 3, the third phrase that is, and we slide down to that 7th fret on the D. We then have the 5th and the 7th frets on the G string, and then what we want to do is another pre-bend, just like before, except this time we're aiming for a tone here. You might want to pull the string downwards, because you'll generally have a bit more force going this way than that way. But essentially you play these notes, mute the string, I'm probably just using a bit of my palm here, or perhaps the tip of the plectrum, pre-bend it, and then bring it down to pitch. I didn't bend that quite enough there. There we go. And then I'm using my first finger for a bit of vibrato on the 7th fret on the D. Nice circular vibrato, a bit like Steve Vai, going up there, just to keep it nice and smooth. So that phrase, we're sustaining this note. Phrase 4 is essentially phrase 1 but harmonised in thirds. You probably heard in the intro demo there was 2 guitars at one point on the second time repeat. So that's what's going on here. We're playing the same but harmonised. So to break that down, we've got the same idea. We're doing this pre-bend but a third higher. So we're pre-bending the 17th fret so it sounds like the 15th. So you take this and you want it to sound here. You pre-bend it and release down to the 13th fret. Then a wee bit of a stretch here, you got 17 to 15. I'm using my third and second fingers to make this a wee bit easier in terms of not having it jump about too much. And again, just like before, we want to slide down that kind of grace note we had before. So you got this. So after we play that 15th fret, we're hitting it once more, and you don't really hear it the second time because we're getting that kind of ray gun, kind of whiny pew sound all the way down to the 8th fret. Again, you might want to take a wee bit of time to work on this. You'll notice I quite often use my second finger for these slides and have my first one resting over the strings. That's just to keep things a bit cleaner in case I hit them by mistake. Like if I have a first finger can produce a bit of slop, if I use my second one with the first one muting it keeps it cleaner. More in muting tips up there. Anyway, after that we're doing almost exactly the same thing. Except just like before, instead of sliding up and hitting the 12th twice, we're playing this 8th fret twice and sliding up to the 12th. So let's recap those phrases. And we continue with this idea of harmonizing. So before we had this phrase. We're doing the exact same thing, but it's just a third higher in the scale. So here what I'm doing is just alternate picking it, down, up, going up the scale with position shifts. Then here what you want to do is slide up to the 17th fret on the G. You're probably going to slide from this 14th fret because your finger, well, it's in position, isn't it? And we're just going to come down the scale. So here again, you could probably pull those notes off for a bit more authenticity. So that would be a 14 to the 17th slide, pull up to the 16, pull up to the 14, 17th on the D. And let's recap that phrase. And again, this next kind of sub-phrase that we had before. So it's the same idea, we're sustaining this note, sliding it down. It's down to the 10th fret on the D. We have a 9 to 10 on the G string. And then we want it to have a tone pre-bend here. So you want this 12th fret to sound by bending it. You might want to pull this down, you might want to push it up, whatever suits best. Just whatever feels more comfortable. And then we're going to go up to this 13th fret on the B. Again, a nice little bit of vibrato to finish off. Whenever you see that squiggly line on the tab, just put in some vibrato. So that phrase, it starts off with the 17th fret on the D string being sustained. Slide down to the 10. 9, 10. Pre-bend, release. And let's recap that one more time. you like this, check out that video, or if you want more iconic and underrated solos, check out the playlist. But yeah, leave me a comment, share with your fellow musicians, click subscribe and enable notifications by ringing that little bell on the side if you feel so inclined. Cheers guys.